It was December 3rd of 2004, and we were up early because we had to do route clearance. So our area was almost to Kirkuk, and we had to go pick up some guys and escort them to Kirkuk. So we went and picked them up. Everything was fine, and then we were, I'd say, 10, 15 minutes away from Kirkuk, and that's when the IED went off. So the IED goes off, and I remember, like, I don't really remember being lifted out of the truck. I remember being in the air, falling towards the ground. So I landed on my stomach, and I tried to push myself up, and I noticed that part of my left index finger was gone. And I remember seeing the bone and thinking for, it couldn't have been more than a split second, that it looked kind of cool and maybe I should find the rest of my finger. Because I'd never been through anything like that before. I didn't know protocol or whatever you want to call it. So I remember trying to push myself up to get up, and I couldn't get up. I just kept pushing, and I remember it being really hard to breathe. And I figured, because I had all my gear on, I just figured I had the wind knocked out of me and I'd be okay. And I just needed to catch my breath, and that wasn't happening. So my guys came over to me, and to be honest, I'd imagine it was the medic. I can't think of who else was there. We're in the truck going towards Kirkuk, and my buddy's sitting over me trying to keep me awake, and I remember telling him that I just wanted to sleep and I was really tired, and I remember kind of being in and out of it, and he's sitting over me, slapping me in the face, telling me that I have to stay awake, and getting me to talk to him, and he's talking to me. And then I remember hearing the medevac chopper landing. They took me out of the Humvee and put me into the medevac. And as they're walking me over, I remember my right leg, where I broke my femur, fell off the stretcher. And I remember that was the first moment I felt excruciating pain, was when my leg fell off the stretcher. And I remember taking off from the ground and going up in the air, and then the next thing I remember, I was at the emergency room in Kirkuk. So I get into the emergency room, and I have no idea what they're doing. And then the last thing I remember is there was a couple doctors standing over me, and their hands were just covered in blood. And then a couple weeks later, I woke up with Walter Reed. His name was Mullenbrock, and he was young. I think he was only 21, if I remember right. And I think it was the end of July, his baby was born, and he got to go back and see her be born. And so his baby only remembers him by his pictures, won't ever, remember him for who he was. But he was amazing. He was a team player. You knew, if there was somebody that you knew had your back, it was him. He loved the military with all of his heart. Because Arlington's just like any other cemetery. There's roads that you get around, and I remember wheeling over as close to his grave as I could get, and then I had to use my walker to get to the rest of the way. And I don't think it was that far, but I think it seemed like a mile to me, because it was hard to walk. It was both of my legs were messed up pretty bad, and so I knew it was a struggle. I mean, it was worth it to go, but it was emotional. But I was glad that I did it. But he was just one of those guys that you knew he was going to be a career soldier, and you knew that he was going to take care of his soldiers, and you knew that his whole heart was in it all the time. So, Mallenbrock was an amazing, amazing kid.